Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about something very exciting. I know a lot of Mopar fans have been questioning where the path of Dodge and the HEMI V8 is going. But yesterday we posted this article on Mopar Insiders. My cohort and co-editor Jared Belfort posted this article about HEMI V8 production to begin in August. Now, originally back in February, we told you that the 5.7 liter HEMI V8 was being reintroduced into production, but not in Mexico. It was moving to Dundee, Michigan at the Dundee Engine Plant. Jared has been doing research like crazy, talking with people within the company at Dundee, talking to suppliers, and we could confirm that the 5.7 for sure back in February was coming back to production. Now that was going to be focused on the Ram 1500 for 2026 because obviously they want the HEMI back from that to kind of help make up for that 19% sales loss that they had last year. But the very important thing was it was also going to help with the last year of the Durango. So 2026 is going to be the very last model year that the current Gen 3 Durango has before it was replaced with an all-new Durango. And the way it was going was at the end of 2025 would be the end of the HEMI production, and the 2026 model year would be all Pentastar V6 options. The very interesting thing about that was it would be the only year that the Gen 3 Durango wouldn't have HEMI power. Now that the HEMI is coming back, they are looking at extending that Durango RT model for 2026. Now we don't know if the Durango Hellcat's coming back for sure, but we know RT's coming back, and we know that the Durango HEMI Pursuit is coming back for 2026. So that should be good for law enforcement officers. And then on top of it, Jared was doing more research to find out what was going on, and we had heard that the TRX was coming back as well. So we posted this big article about, the TRX coming back. The only thing was we didn't know if they were going to continue to pull from stockpiles of Hellcat engines like they had been for the Durango the Durango SRT Hellcat. But we weren't sure if they were going to reintroduce the Hellcat as well. Well, Jared had found out that Dundee is not just building the 5.7. The 5.7 will be the first engine to come online, but it will be building the 392, the SRT engine. The Apache is what it's called, codenamed. And it will also be building Hellcat and Hellcat Red-Eye engines. So all those engines will be built here in the U.S. in Michigan. The only HEMI engine that won't be built here is the 6.4 392 BGE motor. It's called the Big Gas engine, and that's the one that is actually fitted into the heavy-duty trucks. Now, the trucks are built in Saltillo, Mexico, at the Saltillo Truck Plant, and right next door is the Saltillo Engine Plant. The Saltillo Engine Plant is where the 6.4 is built and where the old HEMIs were built, and then the Hurricane engines are built too. So, with that being said, it doesn't make any sense logistically if they move the HEMI, the BGE motor, to Michigan when they have it right next door to where their truck production is. So that engine's staying. We also found out that the 5.7 is going to have some updates. We don't know exactly what, but we're hearing maybe possibility of direct injection, which should be a little different. We don't know if there's going to be any updates yet on 392 or Hellcat. We haven't heard anything yet. But nonetheless, we're going to have a whole lineup of HEMI engines available. Now, a lot of people have reached out to me since yesterday. Hey, is Grand Cherokee going to get a HEMI V8? I don't know. I really don't. A lot of people are upset that the 2026 models are going to go 4-cylinder power. I really don't know if they're going to introduce a V8 yet. A lot of people have asked me, hey, is the Wagoneer getting the 5.7 again? Don't know. Grand Wagoneer going to get 6.4? We don't know yet. We simply don't know. All of those vehicles are built in Michigan, and having the HEMI in Michigan probably would help their case a little bit. But as of right now, we haven't heard anything official. If you look at the other engines, like the possibilities, obviously we talked about TRX coming back. There are other vehicles that these engines can go into. And today I'm here to confirm, if you go on Mopar Insiders right now, the time that this video is running, there's an article I posted, and it is that Dodge is working on a HEMI V8 powered new Dodge Charger. Now, We've heard a lot of YouTubers that say all this kind of crazy stuff out there, that it's happening. You can guess 50% of the time that you're right, or you can guess wrong. The thing is we've done a lot of research on this, and this is relatively new information. I'm saying that because for a while we've heard people say, oh, the HEMI's coming back. And the honest to God's truth is it wasn't until the last few weeks that this has been confirmed from our sources. The reason being is it took a lot of stuff for this car to be kind of pushed through. The first one was the sales of the Dodge Charger Daytona. Now, sales have been very dismal for the Charger Daytona. One is because it's too damn expensive, simply. The other is there's a huge pushback against EVs. And Matt McAleer, the Dodge CEO, was on a podcast recently, and he said, V8's not a bad word around the company anymore, and that they didn't have a marketing case just yet for a HEMI V8. Well, sales of the Dodge Charger Daytona are very, very dismal. And it kind of pushed forward that, hey, we got to do something. People want V8 powered cars. So that was a huge momentum push. Trump administration pushing back EPA regulations back to where they were during like the Obama years really helped. And, the fan base wanting a HEMI V8 was also another move. With Tim Kuniskis really saying, hey, I want HEMI power back in the Ram 1500s, and them, for the last several months talking about, hey, we're going to move production of HEMI, like reintroduce production of HEMI V8s for the trucks, also helped set that in motion. So there were several things, and it wasn't until recent weeks that Dodge brass had been saying like, hey, we need to do this. So you've been hearing things in the pipeline like, oh, hey, we've been doing this, and they're testing cars. They haven't been testing cars. From what we hear, originally we heard that Dodge engineers were saying, hey, we couldn't put a V8 in this thing. There's issues with firewall. There's issues with the strut towers being too inboard because of how the Hurricane is laid out in the front end. We're hearing that some of that is true, but it's nothing that the engineering team can't fix. We're hearing that there's going to have to be some stuff moved, possibly not so much the firewall, but we're hearing the strut towers a little bit maybe. And the engines will have to be fitted with different headers and stuff like that. But what we're hearing is it won't be as bad as what they originally thought. So the thing is, if you're really looking at a timeline of this car, we don't know when it's going to hit production. We heard that Dodge will eventually say something by the end of the year, officially announcing that the HEMI will be back. The car itself probably won't be available to hit dealers probably until sometime late next year or early 2027. Dodge has really put a focus on ICE-powered cars. And with the HEMI coming back, it's going to create a lot of excitement. But they really want to focus on the Hurricane inline six cars. The reason being is because Charger sales have been so dismal. They want internal combustion cars in the hands of the dealers to get these cars out. So, originally, back when Dodge introduced the new Dodge Charger, they said, hey, we're going to have a six-pack lineup. It's going to be introduced in the first quarter of 2025. That didn't happen. They pushed it back to late 2025. Then, a few months ago, Mopar insiders broke the news that Dodge had pushed up the production of the new Charger six-pack models to June, and that Windsor would kick off the cars in June as a 2026 model year. Well, I'm here to tell you that we learned in the last couple days that Windsor will push up again production of the Dodge Charger six-pack models, and they will be launched in May. So before I told you June and that they would be here sometime in the late summer, now I'm here to tell you that production will start in May, and we'll see these cars during the summer at dealers. So around the end of June, you should be able to go into your Dodge dealer and purchase an internal combustion powered Dodge Charger. And you will also be able to get a 4-door model. So those who have been wondering, are they going to go dump the EV stuff? No, they're not dumping the EV stuff. What we've heard, and I will be writing an article up about this as well, is that the Dodge Charger Daytona will now be a limited run car. So basically, they aren't going to be producing a ton of them, but what we're hearing is that they will still be available for sale, but they're going to be focused on ICE-powered cars going forward with the ability to have EVs. Now, they will still be bringing the 800-volt car, the Banshee and stuff like that to market. So that's a plus. So you're going to have the ability to go in and buy a Dodge Charger Daytona EV. You're going to be able to buy a Charger HURRICANE 6-pack or a Charger HEMI V8. And again, this won't happen overnight. This is going to be probably another year or so down the road. But, don't think that they're giving up on EVs just yet. Also, the one thing I will say about the Hurricane cars, a lot of people have had questions about the Hurricane cars. When you look at these things, we're going to get 2 models at launch. We're going to get a new 4-door standard output car with 420 horsepower and 469 foot-pounds of torque. Standard all-wheel drive, so the car will probably weigh a little bit more than the outgoing 2023 Dodge Charger RT. But performance-wise, it'll have 50 more horsepower and standard all-wheel drive, which you can be able to, supposedly Dodge has told us, you'll be able to shut that off and run in the car in rear-wheel drive anytime you want. And then on top of it, if you look at the coupe is getting the high output Hurricane engine. Compared to the outgoing Scat Pack models, you're getting 65 additional horsepower. So you're getting 550 instead of 485. So even if they bring the Hemi back to these cars, it's going to leave a kind of an interesting opening in the Charger lineup. Are you going to be willing to go to a lower horsepower V8 car? So basically, let's say they reintroduce the 392. Are you going to get a 392 with 485 horsepower? Maybe 500 horsepower? Basically get a car that's less horsepower than the Hurricane engines that will make more horsepower and probably be faster. It's going to be one of those things where next year will probably be very interesting to see what the balance is, how many people go for V8 powered cars versus inline 6 cars that have the potential of being faster. So it's really going to set a whole different tone for Dodge. Another thing that these cars are really setting the tone for is 2027, the new Dodge Durango is coming out. That's going to be a so large platform vehicle. And if these cars are going to be focused on Hemi cars and 6-pack cars, we're probably going to see the Durango do the same kind of formula. So this is big news. There's going to be a lot of different changes going for the Dodge brand going forward. But Hurricane powered cars are the focus now. Dodge is putting both feet in for Hurricane cars. That's going to be their focus. They're going to focus on building as many as possible compared to EVs. And then eventually we'll see a V8 powered Dodge Charger. So we will find out more. But I am here to confirm that Dodge is working on a HEMI V8 powered Charger. Again, this is relatively new news. This isn't something that's been, we've been working on it for a long time. This is something that has recently come up in the last few weeks. So we won't see anything really soon. That's the thing that I'm trying to tell people. We're going to see something, but it's going to be a while. But until then, the Hurricane cars are going to be at the forefront of the Dodge lineup. So you can hate on the Hurricane cars all you want, but HEMI V8 power will be back in a Dodge Charger sometime probably 2027. So keep that in mind. I hate seeing everybody like upset about how Dodge is dying and all this stuff. The next 15 months is going to be crazy. There's so much new stuff going on from what we've heard. Every day we're learning something new. And for those naysayers out there, you're going to have to bite the bullet and just hold on for the ride, because it's going to be very, very exciting. So this should be really good news for those who want the HEMI V8 back in a car. Hopefully Dodge will embrace it. And, you know, hopefully sales will be boosting because of this. Hopefully sales will be going really good with the Hurricane-powered cars. You know, these cars should be cheaper than the Charger Daytona. And I actually like the front end of the six-pack better than the Daytona. It looks more aggressive. I can't wait to actually drive one of these cars. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, anyways, make sure to check out my article on Mopar Insiders. And if you like this video, you know, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to comment. What would you choose? Would you choose a HEMI-powered car or a Hurricane-powered car that has more horsepower? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.